Hello, YouTube. It is Damien. It is the Rise of a Nation. It is episode 61, and today we have got the final game of the season. We have Fc21, and then following that, we have the end of season review. We're going to talk all things SFB this year. Really recap what was a very disappointing year on paper, but we did finish second in the league, which is absolutely amazing. It means we have European football. And then last, we're just going to go through a few of the key players at the moment, because a lot of them are hitting towards the 100 game mark. Really have a look at a few of the lads that it's like, yeah, thank you for being here. You know, something that I wanted to do in episode 50, but it so happened fell that we're playing Midtjylland in the semi-final of the Cup, that we decided to focus on that. And yeah, just really see where we need to improve on next season. There's a couple areas I definitely think we need to improve on, that's for sure. And then see also how much money the board's going to give us, and et cetera, et cetera. We're also going to be over the 8 million mark by the end of this as well, because we're going to get the TV money. We're going to get the prize money for finishing second. This could be the biggest wage or transfer budget we're ever going to get in recent history. There's also we need to talk about the what's happening with the board as well, because the board in themselves are about to have a meeting to discuss presidency. They're going to do an election again. I really hope that the guy that we have in charge isn't going to be the guy that's there. I'm going to move Neil Jenkins into the starting role here today. Neil Jenkins has been quite good. He's been form of late. It's been really, really nice. Has scored a couple of important goals, a couple of important assists of late. I'm giving the Australian a lot of time, right? I actually think the guy as a shadow striker could be really good. I'm actually going to start even training him as a shadow striker on attack. I do think that he, apart from the fact that he's not a natural finisher and passer of the football, I do think, though, that with his physicality and the fact he's so tall and everything, that you may as well get him in the middle of the park and really going with it as well. And expect to see him here next year. Anyhow, without further ado, we're going to get into this game, because this is the easy part of the episode. We're going into a game. We don't really care too much. It is what it is, and we really just want to get through it, and away we go. And hopefully we don't lose too many of the players that we have here at the squad as well. You got your Yeppies that has got a 12 mil release fee. You got Kenny has only got a 5 mil release fee. You do expect that maybe Kenny could go. Bumnajar's got a release fee as well. Zahora has a 8 mil or so release fee. We'll go through all that as well at the end of this game as well. And we just need to go out there and just be like, look, we want to keep our best players at the football club. Zahora in the past has rejected clubs, but I'm expecting that he will get a contract or an offer, from a bigger club as well. Absolutely, I don't. Every time I ask the board for a little bit more wage to improve the staff, thank God wants new staff. The board won't do it. They won't give me room to even improve the... How are you, Owen? Good to see you, my man. The board won't even give me, more staff to improve the staff. They're not giving me any money. There was contracts that I wanted to, sign new staff. They were giving me no money, even though we made 7 mil this year. I think my current president is very hell-bent on keeping money at the club and not giving me much money. And yeah, it just is what it is. It is Kenny's 100th game as well today, which is important to note. 2 games ago, actually, was Yeppy's 100th game of the season, of being at the club as well. And we're just going to recap a few of the guys that are in and around the 100 game sort of mark in this end-of-season review as well. As you can see, we clearly are second there. We do have one of the hardest teams, and Midtjylland by themselves have had a really poor year, but luckily enough to win the Cup. So they've got European football as well. It'll be very interesting to see how we go out there against a side that's been quite poor in the league this year in Midtjylland. But at the same time, who knows how we're going to go. Owen, I'm going to get your shout out as well, by the way. Good old how we rolling in the chat. It's Owen. How we roll on. Anyway, Dodd with the ball. Down this left-hand side there for Brunaga. We obviously need to get a tackle in. We do, Marquez. And the ball goes in to Moriba, and he is picked off there by Kenny in his 100th game appearance. I actually hope he goes himself. He doesn't, because he's unselfish. Zahora now, though, with the ball, still going down this line. And he beat... Oh, my, what a run. Zahora. You never know. That could even be with the match end and everything. Oh, they're bowing to him. I love that. What's the celebration? You never know with the way the match engine interprets those sort of runs. That could have been our goal of the year right in this episode. That's a big one. It was out of bounds. Where's my BT impersonation? It was out of bounds. It was out of bounds. Never out of bounds. And there we are. It's 1-0. God, I love some BT. And there we are. For my Australians in the chat, they will understand that. For everyone else, they're looking at me going, what? Well, that's an AFL reference, and there we go. And even then, that's not my biggest out amounts ever. We are on YouTube. I don't need to scream into your ears. Anyway, Robert now with the highlight. And he's one of the positions that I do want to speak about because we have seen in this promotion stage that he is prone to the keeper mistake, right? But he's also, once he makes a mistake, seems a very good head on his shoulders that he goes out there and doesn't it. Anyway, Zahora through McDermott. Usually McDermott makes a save. There was Zahora got himself two. And there we are. Paulie! He's in that chat as well, boys. And he knows he knows what BT's all about. Paulie gives a very good BT. It was out of bounds. Get a shout out to Paulie in the chat. Zahora, McDermott usually saves all them. Maybe it's the end of his reign. He's starting to get a bit old. But yeah, usually McDermott makes a handful of saves. But we are 2-0 up here unbalanced. I have gone positive a lot of times and we have conceded. So I'm just going to leave us on balance. Why not? Anyway, Jenkins in the hole, doing his job. Finds Roberts. Good ball towards Zahora. Knocks it on down to Dolek. I think it's offside, boys. It is offside. There we go. I will say, did I move Jenkins as a shadow striker? I did not. Poor kid probably is going, why am I dropping so deep for? Zahora making Midland look like the third division side. Zahora has the ability to do this, though. And he's one of the players that I'm just going to talk about towards the end of this episode as well. Because he's played well over 100 games for me. I think it's 127 before this game here today. And he's averaging over a 7. And match ratings have been broken until basically 4 games left of this season was the patch. Or maybe 10 games left of this season. The whole promotion league basically was the patch. Maybe a little longer. Being a bit harsh there to FM there. But yeah, he's basically played 3 years of poor match ratings. And he's still averaging over a 7. Anyway, highlight from half-time, but not in your classical way. Usually it starts with starts with them at the halfway kicking off, but instead that's just 3 little passes and Roberts had to make a save. And that's the thing about Robert as well. He has the ability just to be beautiful on his day. He's a beautiful human being. He's got great character, as Brendan Rodgers would say. But he has the ability to make a mistake and make me pull my hair out. As Bumnager gets on the ball, and we're on the break, and Bubs, the captain, loves to go on a run. He's still going. He's got people inside of him. He's got to play a pass now, surely. He's running to a cul-de-sac. Gets fouled. This is an interesting highlight. Yeppy loves a free kick. Get him on the ball. Have a hit. It's the final game of the season. I want you to shoot. I know that you can't hear me, but I want you to shoot. He hasn't shot. Instead, he goes back stick and it's cleared away. And now we need to get on it. It's the end of a highlight. Weird highlight that. Anyhow, 50 minutes played. We've played quite well. I'm actually going to move us to positive. Why not? I do want to talk about the system as well because I do think we can get better out of the system. And Armstrong, who I do want to get rid of, has just saved it on the goal line and now it falls to Robert's hands. Well done, Finley Armstrong. He's having a good game out there too. Not get rid of in terms of maybe sell, but put into the as a rotation option. In terms of the tactics for next season, I do want to cut us off this and move us a bit shorter, work the ball into the box. We have seen that has worked really well for us in the past and has been really good. This game is pretty much dead and buried, so as much as it's saying us to bring out, I'll bring out Hansen on, why not? I was going to bring in Yon. Yon's a young kid and really has done a job. I'm actually going to not do that. If Marquez hits a 7, I'll take him off for Bubba and give Bubba a run last game of the season. Hasn't really happened here. We'll do it anyway, why not? Bubba obviously has been really good. And I think this is going to be a not bad time to say, thank God you're here. I'm going to use thank God in there as an advanced playmaker on attack in his preferred role. He's not 100% fit, but it's the last game of the season. Why not? And away we go. I feel like on this positive keep it shorter system, we dominate teams a little bit more. And why not get Anderson in there really, really late doors as well. The young prospect with 5-star potential. Anyway, Roberts, Bubnajar, puts a ball in there. Fernandez, Zahora for a hat-trick, hit the bar. Really should have scored a well-worked corner move. Tony Christensen, thank God you're here. Doesn't score. And unfortunately, 90 minutes played. It is only 2-0 still. But we shouldn't drop this game from here. But it's a highlight for Midland, and you never know. Long ball should be Bubba's ears. Thank God he knows how to run, and away he goes. He's physical, and he's away. The man that came from Spain. He's heavenly, he's godly. In the end, he never went on the run and finds Bubnajar, though. Smart play in the end. Bubnajar, what a run. Goes at goal, straight at McDermott. And in the end, Zahora is not going to get himself a hat-trick. But, you never know. I said it. You watch him do it, because he's Zahora. Long throw, that's poor. Anyway, Jon Anderson, the 17-year-old, gets on it. Good run from him too. Through Dolek. Effort blocked. Them on the break, isn't it? Bubba's done well. Christensen. Johansson. Are we going to get Zahora a chance here late doors? Or this just FM being FM. The border was Dolik wasn't the worst idea. Poulsen now, back to McDermott. Force him long. I want blood. I want a third. Bubba does well. Johansson again. Dolik's out there wide. Can he find a pass? Big switch. Bub in the jar. Should make it free. Effort blocked. Goes for goal. Well saved. And in the end, it's actually, thank God, the score. He's taken it off the boot of Zahora. He wanted all the glory for himself. But that godly regen, that is, thank God, has made it 3-0. And we are really happy with that. And it's a great way to end the season that we know when we want, we're really good. Also do think this shorter passing, that slightly higher tempo, but working into the box just allows us to create more chances. Because we keep it on that higher tempo, we still look at that little bit more directness that we have, but it allows us to work more of those one-on-one chances. Another highlight, FM, really. Long throw, Bubba heads, Bub in the jar. There's no way that we make it 4, right? Punted in the thank God. Zahora made the run. Oh, he ignored him. Makes a secondary run. Instead he looks for Dolek. Dolchek. One time, it is 4. And this is what I mean. This positive, shorter passing, higher possession, higher tempo system seems to suit us a lot more now because we've got so many better technicians on the field. And thank God's come off the bench and got himself 2 assists just like that. And that's what I like about him because he's so good at doing this. He's also got himself a goal. But Dolchek, there we are. Thanks for coming. And there we go. It is 4-0. Fortunately, Zahora still hasn't got it. But yeah, and Dolchek has got himself a goal, which is always nice to see from the new signing. And we've absolutely dominated FC Midtjylland, and we have smacked them 4-0 at home, and everybody had a good game. Everybody, except for Johansson, but we don't really mind. But yeah, and Midtjylland didn't. And there we go. I'm very happy with that, boys. That's a great win. And we end the season with a bang here, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, if you saw that, all we're doing with the system, and I'm gonna do it right now. Right? I think it's the first point of call is where we're gonna start with it. Right, is that we are going to change the system first thing. Such a positive result. Absolutely, a superb win from everyone. Right, perfect, done. Superb. Right, is we are going to go and change the system here very quickly before we do anything else. Right, is that it's always been on this. And I'm going to save it quickly. Right, I'm going to save it. It's been a great system. I think it still suits us to an extent. But I feel like when you got Yeppy, Kenny, usually thank God in the hole. I'll put him in there right now, right? Dolchek, Bub the Jar, who are all so good of putting their foot on the ball and playing a pass. Especially these 3, right? And especially this guy. You know, he's not got the greatest passing ability or whatever, but the fact that he drops in the hole so well, which is interesting when he has 9 off the ball, he just plays a very good pass in that role, right? You know, you got Yeppy, you got Kenny, also play good balls. And we've seen the system work before, that I'm now going to put us into positive for most games, going to take us a pass in the space, going to move us to this and work the ball into the box. That's all I'm doing. The rest is staying the same, but that has just seemed to make us a little bit more clinical going forward and dominate more games. So I'm going to save that as the SFB 4231, and I'm just going to call it the possession-based, pos-based, right? And that's the possession-based system. That's my first change for next season. And it's the first point of call out of this end of season review. Is I feel like that there helps us really dominate. Second thing it does is that we probably should move to wing-backs on support and still cross when the opportunity arises. I don't mind that. Also don't mind full-backs on support. Also don't mind full-backs on support as well. I don't know if I want to be fullbacks on support or wingbacks on support. I think wingbacks on attack would probably be not enough for me. Would be too much for me. I think wingbacks on attack, we look to overlap and provide wide support, run his man and get crosses into the byline. I think if we found the right player, sure, but then it takes too much off Kenny to go forward and really sit and etc. And I don't think we kind of need that. So I think wingbacks on support next season wouldn't be the worst if we get the right sort of wing back as well. But we'll talk that a little bit more in a second. As you can see there, Madsen we need to speak about as well. We'll get to that stage as well. Beauregard there. He scored another 2 goals. This kid, I'm telling you right now, has averaged a 7 for Coach, who didn't even get promoted in the division below. He is coming in, and he is going to be our backup striker next year. I'm telling you that right now. Berger, good to see you. How are you, my man? Fellow mod. There we go. Friss has annoyed me this season, that he wants to leave. That's fine. Yes, Zahora's done well. We will do this press conference here quickly. Just get it out of the way. I think you can't overestimate his influence. Rackle speaks for himself. Has top of farm player, and the reason we loaned him out is making great progress. There's also a lot for stability, even though he's not doing that. Not tremendously poor from something. The Elk is averaging a 6.48 of his last 5 games, but has done well in thing. He's got a lot more offers or done. All right, we'll get through that too. Now we're going to get into the actual end of season review stuff. As you can see, we do get the 1.28 million for finishing second as well. 30 minutes in, I turn up as usual. That's usually normal burger. And for everybody on YouTube, links down below. You know, we are live on Twitch a lot of the time. 100% put us, go give us a follow as we're approaching the 1,200 mark. We're very close. We're in the 1,190 mark. So what this 1.28 million does give us is, for the first time ever, going into the end of a season, we're going to have more than 8 million in the bank. And there's every time the board goes and says he's 3 million in like 150k payroll budget, this is the season to bloody do it, right? I just think with the current board member that we have in charge, you know, this guy right here, if we go to general information, I want him gone because I just think that our owner, right, just wants to make money, and that is it. But yeah, you know, I've had a really good year. You know, the league table and all that, we've been really good. We're going to have a look at a little bit of the stats. And the reason why I want to move to this possession-based system is I go by team detail. On a bit more of a possession-based direct system, we kept 55% of the ball and paid 85% passes. If we went out there and actually kept it a little bit shorter, I really expect us to get about 60% and 85% passes as well. If you also have a look there, you know, you got headers 1 and all that stuff as well. I don't particularly care for that too much. Red cards were never really high. Average points per game, we've actually done really, really well. But yeah, get the shoe up for presidency, 100%. As we scroll down the list here as well, there's no one really too much going out. In terms of goals, we're second on the list just in this system. And just shows you that we can match it with Copenhagen. We average a very, very similar amount of goals per games as well. Goals from corners were very similar as well. That's from direct corners though. It doesn't count the indirect short corners. So those are the corners where you whipped in, they win the header and they score. We've been playing a lot more short corners, so I would expect that number to be a bit higher. Expected goals though does tell us tale that, you know, we have been pretty good at creating chances, but we weren't the most clinical, right? You know, same with Ep61, you know, they finished 4th and in the end had a very good expected goals. This is where Copenhagen is so good. They score if they're meant to score a goal. They really do narrow it in. Penalties taken, Midtjylland 9, they scored 8. Referees hate us. The amount of things that we get nothing. We do not get a thing in terms of penalties. But our crossing rate is also very same as well. Crosses completed, you know, on that list. It doesn't really bother me, that one there as well. I'm more looking at pass completion ratio. 85% in a punty system. I do think that with a bit more of a shorter system, we've worked the ball into the box, we're going to dominate more games, going to keep more passes of the ball, and get our best players on the ball further up the pitch. Nothing wrong with that. Passes completed as well on a direct system, which ours is, on a direct balance system, moving to positive but still quite direct. We came still second in the league. So I feel like we need to do it. In terms of clear-cut chances created, yet again, that is us. Top of the list, just didn't convert. Yet again, Copenhagen, clear-cut chances created, 14. When they get a chance, they bury. That is the thing for as well. We're pretty high on the shots for list with you guys. Shots on target, we topped it as well. Shots on target ratio, though, yet again, bit low as well. And I don't think there's much else to really talk about. Defensively, we had a really decent year as well. I feel like there were some mistakes, but the moment we brought Marquez in for Bubba, we defensively became a lot more solid. Apart from the couple of games where really Robert let us down, I do think it was more Robert than anything else. Just want to have a look at the schedule, thanks, if you can let me do that, FM. If it freezes like right now and I have to play the Midtjylland game again, I'll be livid. I know we saved, that's fine. The second half of the season was solid as a rock. I feel like we were solid as a rock to an extent, right? You know, we brought Marquez in here and we didn't concede until we got beat on the final day by Copenhagen 3-0, right? Bromby, Bubba played as well, wasn't even Marquez. Marquez came back in and we went 1-0, 1-1. Copenhagen really, really unlucky, right? And then against Bromby, we were good. Midtjylland, nothing we could do about. Again, Marquez also had a really good game out there. Nords, we got FM'd. AAB was really good. Copenhagen, decent performance. And Midtjylland, we were superb at the back. I do think once Marquez came in, we were a lot more solid. And I do think with more time, with Marquez and Tony getting really accustomed to playing with each other, we're only going to become better at the back. And if we get a better fullback in or two, it wouldn't be bad. It'd be very interesting to compare these stats here, right? These allowed stats here to next season where we get fullbacks really bombing on as well. But we'll wait and we'll see as well. In terms of anything else here, I don't think there's really much else to say. We kept the most clean sheets in the league this year, yet again. And then we just get onto the fact that we are so poor, you know. They have a stadium, right, that is about 35,000 capacity stadium, Copenhagen. They get 17 million, and it's actually down to 12 million a year now in sponsorship alone, right? If you go to that and sponsorship income, it's just been from 17 to 12, right? They make so much money, it is not a joke, right? We, though, on average, get nowhere near that. We have a 10,000 seater stadium. If there's ever a day that we get 10,000 people into a stadium per game, we will turn over a profit every year as well. Copenhagen as well, look at them. The net spend, salary per year, they top it. We've actually started increasing that because we've got a bit more money now. But it kind of shows the goal for what we're up against, but what we really have done really, 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 really well. It's also important to know that player overview as well. I believe the Zahora missed out to Damian again, and he was injured. All right, he was injured for a few games as well, so he's done really well. Albert Westerberg, though, yet again has done well. This guy's contract is expiring in a year's time. Unless the club extends it, I'm going to be very interested in him. That is for sure. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty now of the end-of-season review. We're just going to continue on. And yeah, if you make a name for yourself in Europe, you get a higher attendance. Exactly correct, Berger. That's why we need to make sure that we go big in this scouting stream that we're about to do, right? I mean, YouTube, you should see me at the end of the night after about 6 hours of me pouring through notes of me looking to sign the best players that we can in the best positions that we need, right? I feel like midfielder really sorted. I feel like we could maybe get one more midfielder in as depth if we could. Saying that, though, thank God wants that more than me. That was one of his promises, that we sign midfielders. I don't know if we need to be fair. I didn't think so, but hey, if we see a guy, we will. But yeah, here's the end of season review. The new arrivals here as well. Apparently, the star one was Christian Marquez. That was good. But we'll go from the way upwards. We signed, obviously, Kalund on a free, or Kalund. He's got a lot of potential, does the young kid as well. He's been pretty decent. He's currently wanted at the moment on loan, I think, as well. Transfer. Yet again, backup keepers for me is all about, can you make a save? Yes, great. Not a problem, get in there. Not. It may also get to the stage that I might sign a new keeper anyway, right? For Robert. Robert becomes the backup. If Robert's my backup, then we're having a really good time with goalkeepers. Christian Marquez, though, cannot sing his praises enough. Averaged a 7.03 in the league, was on great money as well. Was on great money, I think, as well. You know, he's a guy that didn't want to leave on a free. So this is the thing. I wanted him on a free. He said he wanted to wait until Wolves left him, right? Left him out. I then was like, no, I can't afford this. Had the money on deadline day. If you have not watched the episode, I highly recommend it. It's called Thank God. Go back and watch it. Marquez, though, went out and spent $450K basically up front on him. And he came in and gets a return of 7.03. He is, at the moment, very good, proving that he's worth. But what I like about him is he can play football. He's a great marker, and he's got good pace. He's a lot different than what we've got currently at the moment. He's nailed on for me. And I think at 23, as long as we improve the coaching staff and maybe we'll ask the board to improve the training facilities, this guy will turn into a leading Danish league player. We'll probably keep him here for many years, right? Thomas Bøjgaard obviously went out on loan. It was absolutely amazing. The board reckons £400 is too much for this guy per week. They got to really understand. And that's the thing. My board, right, still think we're a part-time club and all these guys should be on like £40 a week. We're a new club that is professional, that is signing guys. £400 a week for a guy that's got 16 finishing, 16 composure, decent physicals, and is a promising striker. You know, the next thing above promising is Wonder Kid. So this guy with the right tutoring and the right, learning under Zahora, this guy could turn into a wonder kid. He could be really good. Ivan Dolik, I thought, for £48 has been really decent. He came into his own towards the end of the season. Yet again, like Marquez, this guy here at 26 years of age, if he just plays week in, week out, and plays well, does turn into a leading player. I think he's really good for the league. Thank God you're here. The board are delighted that we signed him for £200, and it wasn't even up front. It's over like 3 years or whatever. This guy cannot rate enough. I think he's been really good. We saw it in the last game, off the bench. He got a goal and assist, or 2 assists and a goal. I think that this guy is the bee's knees. I think that, he hasn't developed yet because he's come from Spain really too much, but he's also at that level that he's really good. I also do think there's going to come a day where the team's going to come in and take him off our hands, but it is what it is. Alcotra, hated him, didn't like him. Noel Jenkins, right, yet again, the board on a free, 2.3k a week, I understand that. The amount of important goals and assists this guy got, the Australian, nice. Also, he's valued at 1.4 million. The board need to understand, if I don't want him, I ship him off for $1 million or $2 million, see you later. We just made $1 million profit. It's brilliant. I absolutely love this signing. I expect him to break into the Australian squad pretty soon as well. We're training him to play shadow striker because he's so physical. He's 6'2". He also can play on the left-hand side. We've seen that scored a hat-trick this season out there on the left-hand side. And he can play up top as well. Jan Anderson, I think, has been decent. The promising midfielder. Yet again, he's got a lot of potential. Just need to tutor him. Tristan Doe. At his age, it was more to see if Roberts can tutor, if he can tutor Robert. He's done that. He's done his job. I think Johansson has been a really good sign. He's been injured a lot. But a guy with that sort of stats here in Denmark is always going to be in and around. And Kebby has got a bit of potential playing in the reserves, and that was our signings. On the transfers and the out, we already know who went. Ben Nilsson went, Bo went. It feels like a lifetime ago, but Damiano did go. He's gone on loan from Inter out to, I think it is Cremonese. Damiano one day, hopefully. Frederick Anderson left. I didn't want to sell Frederick Anderson, but it is. Emerson, I think we did well to get a sale there. Vedegaard went out on loan. The Hook, however, I don't think he's played 4 games, which is amazing. He's on the loan list as well. I don't particularly need him. It'd be nice to know what clubs are in for him. That would be great, but apparently we can't do that. Right, not a problem. Well, we might have a look if I remember. Nicholas Ramulson obviously went out as well. And we had, obviously, a couple of guys that left on frees. But we made a bit of money like this season as well. And obviously on the loan outs, I need to have a chat. So Boyegard, I'm definitely thinking. Madsen's had a really good year out on loan. He's averaging a 7.09. If we need a right winger, I actually think this is the guy. I think he's physically good enough to play at the level. And I really do think that he has shown enough on loan at a club that didn't get promoted in the division below to probably be around. There's also the point that we might find a better right winger for our scouting, and we do get a better right winger in than him. But if we don't, he's not the be-all, end-all, and he's not a bad spot to really, really do as well. Collar's obviously done quite well. I think the Elk has gone out and been okay, apart from his last 5 games out there. Friss obviously really annoyed me that Friss is leaving the club because I think he's got a bit of a future as well. I unfortunate there. Season results we go to, obviously we're delighted with what happened. We were top after the first part of the season. The board were not happy with that. I wasn't either. Obviously, if you remember the games, Zahora was injured, broke his ribs in the first league game of the season. We then had the shoe start up front in that game, and we had a red card to Kenny. And you got to remember, 21 minutes in, Kenny gets sent off. 70% of the ball, 4 shots, 2 on target. They've done nothing, and they only scored a long-range goal to beat us on that day. And then in the second leg, we obviously were very, very competitive, just though it was too much of a hard ask to go to Hungary against a side that does fight for the Hungarian division, top honours there. And then this guy about Pockland, we don't need to talk about too much. We had 35 shots that day. 35 shots, so many on target. I expect a goal ratio of 4.25 by memory. We should have won this game in a canter. Unfortunately, this was one of those games where Foot Manager goes, you're going to get FM'd. We didn't retain our title there in the side back Poculin. Next season, we're going to be back with a vengeance for that one there. Moments to remember, that's definitely the moment to forget, was Frem. Beating Saunders match to remember? No. I think there's definitely a win against AAB. That was definitely better than that. We obviously, biggest win was against Vigil. That's good. Goal of the season falls to Jeppe Hansen. Right. I don't remember that one against Lynchby, but there you go. Zahora and Jeppe obviously getting the best as well. Dolcek coming in and getting some new stuff as well. We lost same amount of money and same amount of revenue, but hopefully we will continue to grow this over the time as well. How we lined up, I wouldn't argue with that lineup at all. I think that's pretty much our best lineup this season. Maybe Cameron Roberts comes in over Tristan Doe, and maybe you do find a way to get Marquez in. And the accolades, obviously, Zahora, fans player, young player, Marquez signing the year, Jeppe goal of the season, most assists, you've seen as well, not a problem, most shutouts as well in the league this year as well. We got a bit of oldest players and youngest players there. So Zahora won Autumn Player of the Year, and yet again, Robert was named Danish Goalkeeper of the Year for the second year in a row. That's going to make me bloody do this all again, isn't it? Oh, jeez. There we are. But yeah, and that's why I maybe don't want to sign a striker as well. But yeah, where are they now? Frank's obviously at Spezia. Cod's at Adelaide United, back home. Frederick Anderson just left, and Ben Nelson obviously is gone too. And yeah, there we are. Be interesting to see as well. Our season review, I thought we had a pretty good year. We need to negotiate this. They want us to reach the 4th round of qualifying in the Euro 2. I think we're good enough to on our day. We're going to confirm that as well. And we also have an ended team meeting as well. I'm going to discuss the plans for it next year. I think the season's over. You all have a well-deserved break. I want every one of you to be fully rested. We're going to play for the playoffs next year. I'm going to tell us that we're going to finish mid-table next season. They seem satisfied, which is really, really good. I'm expecting us to be competitive in the Euro 2. I think that's achievable. Nice. Promises for next season. I'll be making clear right now I don't know what I'm going to do. Looking forward to strengthening goalkeepers, making improvements in the midfield, reduce the size of the squad. I'm planning to go defensive situations, improvement in attack. How are you, Mum? I don't know which one to go with here, guys. Trying to improve the quality of the coaching staff. I'm actually going to leave the Promises. They actually didn't mind that, which is good. Usually they kick up a fuss. And there we are. There we go. So that's all done and dusted. Training camp probably will be in Denmark again. It is. We actually went to Spain mid-season training camp, which was really cool as well. People being named all sorts of things over here as well. Scottish Premier Players of the Year and all that sort of stuff. Zahora winning Danish Super Player of the Month. Alex Tingata won Player of the Month in May. Mate, if there's any chance I could sign this guy, don't worry about it, I would. And yeah, obviously we've done really, really well. Now to talk about what we need. We know we've changed the system. I think Finley Armstrong's pretty much done and dusted in terms of being a first choice. I need to get this guy off an important player, and I need to get him on straight away on a regular starter or something like that. I'm going to change him to it straight away, and if he clicks up a fuss, he does. I just do not think that he is good enough to be in that role. I do not think it at all. We've seen it throughout the years, and hopefully he drops it. Beautiful, good. And now I'm going to change him to a squad player in 6 months' time, right, as well. Second thing is that I personally think that we might go after a better right back as well, but we'll wait and we'll see with that one there. And then I think for us is that from midfield forward, we have a good enough team. We have Jeppe Hansen, Kenny, Bubnajar, thank God, Dolec, and Zahora. And I do really think that we've got people like Boyegard coming back on loan. Matthias Madsen can fight for a spot as well. Then we're not too bad. If anything, maybe we go after a goalkeeper and we can do that. But at the same stage, Robert's been winning goalkeeper of the month. He conceded less than the goal to game ratio and kept 13 clean sheets this year. So maybe that's being a little bit harsh on Robert, even though we know he's prone to the odd keeper mistake. There's also the possibility that even at 26 he does grow too. But yeah, until any of that happens, we don't know. But definitely left back. And then maybe a little bit of, maybe a midfielder spot in here. Maybe a better left winger on the left-hand side, maybe as well. Wouldn't be the worst. Neil Jenkins can also play that role quite well. And, you got Boyegard in here. And, yeah, maybe a better midfielder. And then I'm really sort of with the bench as well. I don't think we're too far off. Before we end, I am going to talk about a few players here that have been here for a while. Robert is definitely one. Robert, if you tally all this up, I think he's played like 90-odd games for me. And you've got to see, he's 6.96, average of 7 goalkeeper of the year. But we did concede a lot of goals. But this season, we're a bit more of a sure defence. Has been good, but at the same stage, has been great. And has also been, what I would say, in the big games, we'll be 2-0 up, he'll make a mistake. And you'd be like, really put us under pressure. And then at 2-1, late doors, he'll pull off a worldie of a save. Oh, and have a good night, mate. If it's 2-2, late doors, bang, he'll make a save. Great. He'll never make a mistake at it's 2-2, 90th minute mistake, or, it's 1-1, 60 minutes in, tight game mistake, and 2-1 down. But he'll always make up a mistake where it's whatever. Robert has played 90 games for me. Actually, he's conceded 120 over time, which is cool. Jeppe, though, is very easy to see with Jeppe. He's only ever played first in football for me. 102. match ratings have always been shit. As you can see here and here, match ratings dicked him. This year he's had a very good year, 12 assists, really determined, really doing really well, and has gone out there and done a job. He's been amazing. I can't rate him enough. Kenny just played 100 games for the club, and over his 100 games as well. Absolutely unbelievable. 100 games, 6.81. Yet again, match ratings for here killed him. This year, though, with match ratings taking towards the end of the season, key tackles and all that averaged over a 7. I think that my midfield and my wingers and all that are going to get match ratings of 7s plus a lot of the time now next season. And we're really going to see A, some really good growth, B, match ratings that are reflective. I'm also going to go through one more person. We've also got some interest in Nicholas Bubnajar as well. But averaged over a 7, the club captain, 15 assists, 11 thing. And over the years has been really decent for me too. Bubnajar is wanted at the moment by Semrenese, Pendova, Spal, and Venezia. I do not think he would leave to go to the Serie B. I think he's very much like what Zahora. Won't leave unless it's to a top flight club. Zahora's wanted again by Nims, Malaga, and a Superliga club. I personally am going to get rid of this, unspecified. I personally have offered him a new deal, right? I want that new deal to go through. I think it's a 10 mil or so release fee. If Malaga or the Chinese Super Club came in for him, I think he would leave. I think to Nims, and he's already rejected Padova in the past, that he wouldn't leave to go to a second flight side. But I do think to a top flight Malaga or a Chinese Super League club, he would leave. He's obviously so good. If that was the case, we just have to find a new striker. I'm sure we can, but maybe someone that's never going to be as good as Zahora. Also important to note, Zahora has battled, right, for us, 122 games, 104 goals, an average 0.7 of 7.3. He, in this season here, right, and any other FM or after this patch would have averaged over an 8. This season here would have probably averaged over an 8 on any FM. Look at Fabio Silva for me last season, right, averaging over 8. Here, yet again, would have probably averaged over an 8. And this season here, maybe it would have been the first year averaged in the 7s, right? I cannot recommend him enough. I've loved him. He's torn apart the league, and hopefully he stays here for many more years to come. Anyway, that's going to be the end of season review. A season where we have been pretty poor, apart from in the league, but we've scrapped away and has turned us into a successful season, finishing second. We have a lot of players here that are now hitting the 100-game mark and do look really, really good. We have a bit of money to spend, and maybe we should probably sim forward a couple of days to see how much money the board is really going to give us in terms of transfers. Maybe we do that too. But, we're in a very good spot, very good stage at the save. We have seen natural progression in the save as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we will go out there, find the right sort of signings next season. We need to run in the cup after going out first round. I'm not rotating first round in the cup, that's for sure. We need to go and get into what I think is the group stage of the Euro 2. I don't know how hard that's going to be because I've never been in the Euro 2. And by judging it, all the big teams seem to meet each other in the knockout stage anyway. Because there's a lot of big teams, and there we are. Hey, beautiful. We're going to lose Dus. Yes, we are. Board set budget of $2.2 million and £80 a week. So the board really didn't give us too much money in terms of wage budget, but it's given us plenty of this. I'm going to move it to that. That gives us £24 per week. That should be enough to sign a couple of players and 1.4 million. That's fine. All right, YouTube, that's going to be the end of this episode, an hour-long season review. We got to love them. And I'll see you next time for what will be all the scouting, all the transfers, everything like that. And hopefully we have the same core of players and we can go out there and really fight for multiple honours next year. From Dame and everybody else here on the stream. See you next time. Thank you and goodbye.